Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome again. Another Monday, another great week of learning here at the Culinary Business Network, presented by Feed the Soul Foundation, empowered by Grubhub Community Fund. This is the only membership platform or network where you can connect, learn, and grow all at your fingertips. Connect with like-minded individuals, learn from industry experts, and grow your business all in one place. I'm your host, Karina Fernandez, Program Director of Feed the Soul Foundation. Welcome to another wonderful mastermind session where we get to speak to industry owners that have gone through it, are in the pit of it, and are here to share their insights as they run their business and to help you, of course. So to keep the conversation going from the previous weeks, we're going to be talking about mastering corporate catering. And I wanted to bring on someone who has not only mastered mastered it, but really leveraged other ways to expand her business. And we really wanted to have her on. And so joining us today is the one and only Miss Karen Fain. And she is the co-owner of Fainmous BBQ, the restaurant that brought authentic, let me say this, authentic East Tennessee style barbecue to Texas and beyond. And this is our lovely Karen. I'm going to bring her up on stage in just a little bit, but let me give you a little bit of background. So Karen and her husband, James Fain, co-founded Fainmous BBQ, and I like the play on the last name and the word famous. Back in actually 2010, and they are known for their hickory smoked pulled pork, their ribs, and their rich vinegar tomato sauce. And she'll have to tell us all about that. Fainmous has built a strong reputation in Houston, in the food scene of Houston. And they've also garnered recognition for their traditional style barbecue. And they've also participated in events like March Madness, Super Bowl LI, and I'm just going to say 2017. They've participated in various barbecue festivals. They've appeared on Top Chef, on Fox 26, CW 29. But what's just as exciting, just as what I've mentioned, but even more exciting is how they've been able to pivot beyond the restaurant space into corporate catering. And another gem too, when you're looking to really introduce other sources of revenue, is Goldbelly shipping. And if you haven't heard of Goldbelly, well, this is a great introduction from someone that actually does it. So from opening new streams of growth and visibility for their brand, they have really mastered this. And another reason why we really wanted to have this conversation too is we know that these are tough times, and you're looking for ways to maintain your business afloat. We know this, and it's scary. And so you don't have to do this alone. And I know that sometimes you don't know who to turn to or who to talk to. Well, that's exactly why we're here, right? We're here to be, one, your cheerleader, and two, to make sure that you stay, as Karen would say, keep going, right? And so this session will be packed with insights we can all learn from when thinking about making those big moves and bold partnerships. And so I'm going to bring up my lovely friend, Miss Karen Fain. So help me welcome Miss Karen Fain from Fainmous BBQ.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you for having
Yes.
me on and
Yes.
featuring Fainmous BBQ. God bless you.
Yes. Well, also, fun fact, she was one of our restaurant business development program grant winners back in 2021. And so she was part of one of our first cohorts. So we go way back. But
Yes.
I really want to dive into this because you've done such an excellent job. I know things have been like up here, then down here, then up again. And so walk us through first we of course we want to learn a little bit more about you and your journey into the food industry. Um so let's dive into how did this happen? How did you and your husband, how did James and yourself bring East Tennessee style barbecue to Houston?
Absolutely. Thank you for the intro. Um, James and I actually grew up in East Knoxville, Tennessee. Okay.
Okay.
So we come from a family of cooks. So a lot of the recipes and things that we mastered at home, we are able to bring to the Houston market. Now, where we are located in East Tennessee, we have a lot of influence from the Carolinas. So barbecue is always regional, right? It's just
Right.
regional. And so where we are from, they're big on pork.
Okay.
They have what they call vinegar-based sauces. And we also specialize in more of a savory type of barbecue versus sweet. Our smoke is
Um,
hickory. So when James and I, like I said, growing up, this is what we were accustomed to.
right.
So fast forward, I actually came here to Houston, Texas. I was an engineer by trade. So for 21 years, I worked in the oil and gas industry. My husband is a driver in the delivery service industry with UPS.
Got it.
And so when we connected, I will say reconnected, but
Okay.
when we reconnected, Jamie brought a lot of strong operations and managerial experience in just how to run a kitchen. He is a pit master that, I mean, just incredible what he does.
Yep.
And so when we talked about, and this would have been around 2006, 2007 time frame, we talked about, hey, what about actually doing what we do, the style of craft barbecue, and
Mm.
seeing if there is a market for it here in basically Central Texas. So we started basically out of our home, inviting a few friends over, and then that went from friends to parties, and
Okay.
then from parties to even some companies saying, hey, could you
Um,
could you bring that food back? And so we definitely saw a market for it. And
got it.
so 4 years later, we opened up our first retail spot in Meyerland, and that's where we were for 9 years prior to moving
Oh.
here to the Sawyer Yards First Ward district here in Houston.
So that's interesting because, a lot of those that are in our network have a similar story where they leave corporate or something happens and then you find yourself in this industry and then it's like, okay, now I'm here, what do I do, how do I do this? But you were very
Right.
fortunate that one, your husband is a pit master, two, that he had some type of knowledge and
Yeah.
know-how in terms of the restaurant space. So going back to, what is East Tennessee style barbecue? Is it just the difference between the sweetness and the savoriness, or what how do
Oh, it's
you?
a lot. I mean,
Okay. I was like, it just wasn't one thing.
so yeah, it's a lot. Like I said, East Tennessee style barbecue. The focus is pork ribs,
Got it.
pulled pork, which is basically what is known in the store as the Boston butt. Okay, so
Um,
it's all about the pig. Okay,
got it.
because in that area of the country, um, that happened to be the livestock that was central or germane to the southeastern part of the U.S.
Oh, that makes
Now, when
sense.
you look at Texas, the livestock that was central or germane there was beef, cow,
Beef.
cattle. So these are the things that actually make the difference, or the I would say, the foundation for what we have when we talk about barbecue. So, southeastern part of the U.S.,
Hmm.
emphasis on pork, pork ribs, pulled pork. Our seasonings are mostly, very savory type seasonings. The sauce is a vinegar based sauce.
Right.
So it's more tangy. It's
Got it.
very tangy. In fact, when we moved and when we opened up here, we saw that the palate for the barbecue connoisseurs here in Texas,
Texas.
they wanted a little bit more sweet. So we
Ah.
actually had to kind of modify our sauce from what it was traditionally,
Oh,
um, in
wow.
order
To
to
meet
meet
the
the
demand of
palate
the
here.
ah,
Yes,
very
yes.
good. Hey, there you go
Um,
with the pivoting.
the smoke is hickory. So
Got it.
back where we're from, it's always about hickory smoke. Whereas here in Texas, it's post oak, mesquite, pecan, some sort of
Mm,
combination of those. So smoke, the emphasis on your meat, and the savory versus the sweet sort of sauce.
got it.
All of our sides are handmade. Back
Right.
home, it's all about handmade craft sides.
Yeah.
Our desserts, same way. So when it comes to our peach cobbler or apple cobbler, it's all the fruit. We start with fruit, and then we
Got
just
it.
elevate from there. Yes.
So let me just bring this up because I'm doing you a disservice. Like, look at all this. This is delicious. So this is tell us about the spread, and there's a lot on there.
Absolutely. So you can see from this spread that the
So
star
this
of
is
our
James,
show,
everyone. Sorry, this is James, her
yes,
husband,
that's
and
my
Karen.
husband
Hi, James.
James. But you can see the star of the show here are the pork ribs. So they kind of
Right.
took center stage here. You see a number of sides there. We have, it looks like from the bottom left going kind of clockwise, it looks like we have our chickpea salad, our baked beans, our cream spinach, our
Oh,
mac
okay,
and
yeah.
cheese, potato salad, coleslaw, and green beans.
Okay.
So that was like the spread. And when we get later on into the conversation about pivoting, there's a lot to be said about carrying a menu like
This
that
side.
every
Mhm.
day. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about it. But
Okay.
there you've also got the pork ribs. To the left there, I see some sausage. In the background right in front of me is our brisket, a very tender smoked brisket. And then you've also got a baked potato,
Potato. Mhm. And then
chopped
a
beef
sandwich.
loaded, and then a sandwich. Yes, a brisket sandwich. So that was kind of like our spread. To drink, we had our signature pineapple tea.
Right here.
That is the tea that people just love. They die for that. They get gallons of that.
Gallons. I
They
knew it.
like
I knew it. I knew it.
taste it and
I
it's
mean,
like I want a gallon of this in my
right.
veins.
Right.
So they love
Right.
that pineapple tea. So that's the spread that you see right there.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So now that you've taken us through, what it is and why you brought it, take us back to the early days that you opened, and how the community responded to this type of style. Now, I know you talked about the palette, right?
Hmm.
And how you had to really kind of make some tweaks to your menu, in terms of the taste. But other than that, how did the community respond to this style? I mean, it
Yeah,
is it is a little different, right?
yeah.
And you're inundated with barbecue in Texas. So how did you guys set yourself apart?
Well, what happened is we had an article that was written by a Houston, I would say, barbecue chronicler.
Okay.
His name is J.C. Reed, Chris Reed. He is one of the co-founders of the Houston Barbecue Festival. So he really put us on the map with an article that said pulled pork is the star at Fainmous BBQ, right? So the community just kind of came in and said, "Hey, I want to taste this pulled pork." The pulled pork from where, like I said, where we're from, it just had a different, feel and vibe that
Mm-hmm.
most people who are here in Texas just had not experienced pulled pork like that. I mean, super, super moist. The smoky flavor just, I mean, just through and through. And so that one article was really that was the start of what became kind of like the groundswell in terms of people getting interested in this different regional style barbecue. Ditto for the pork ribs. I mean, again, you're taking something that's a regional favorite from
Right.
where we are back home and bringing it here. So the community was open to that for sure.
That's
So that, I mean, that's pretty. We had positive response. Absolutely.
I'm looking for that article as we speak. I'm curious. Who was it again?
J.C. Reed.
JC Reed.
Uh huh.
JC.
And it said pulled pork is the star at Fainmous BBQ. In fact, we have a picture. We have the article on the wall here at the restaurant.
Was it Houston, no. The
It was
Chronicle?
like in 20. Ooh, let's see. What was it? 2010. I mean, you got to go back several years.
2010. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, 2010, 2011 time frame.
I could
And it was the Houston Chronicle.
It was the Chronicle. Okay.
Yes.
There's one in 20. Okay. I'm gonna have to find that one. But
Okay.
that is great. That one piece of, of media can do that much,
Yeah.
that much attention. And you did Top Chef.
Yes, we were one of the cameo guests on Top Chef when they were doing a barbecue challenge here in Houston.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love
So we
that
got
one.
to
I
be,
did see.
on
I
TV.
know. That is so wonderful. So let's talk about everything that happened in between, right?
Okay.
You once said that as a business owner or as a business, you need to learn how to leverage catering, right? To
Yeah.
increase your exposure. And also, you have to know when to pivot, right?
Right.
And you and I have had various conversations before you did that, before you
Hmm.
pivoted, and talk to me about your mindset and how scary what it is scary. It was a scary time, and you went through a lot of challenges with your current location. So
Hmm.
and someone might be going through this right now too, of having to make that hard decision of, do I A, B, or C, you know?
Right.
And so talk to us about that and how that transcribed into where you are now.
Okay, sure thing. So, just a little bit of background. Remember, I said we started in Meyerland, right?
Right.
And so, after a series of floods in Meyerland,
Mm,
2015, 16, and 17, 2017 was Hurricane Harvey, devastated Houston. So, we were invited to come here. And so, which is First Ward, the Sawyer Yards area. And we did a build out along with like four other, businesses in the area.
right.
And again, this was prior to, this is prior to COVID. Those leases were signed. We were all into it, and then the bottom falls out. Right? I
Hmm.
mean, no one could anticipate what the pandemic would.
Absolutely not.
Right?
Right.
No one. No, it was on no one's radar screen. Right? So when we first started, everything was as great as it could possibly be. I mean,
Hmm.
we had a staff of like six people. We were growing. We had gotten this amazing article from Allison Cook, who is a Houston
Food.
legendary food critic,
Yeah.
and we were able to we were flying. But then but then the lockdowns came. And after the lockdowns came, of course, your retail traffic just went next to nothing. So then, following the lockdowns, it was just that really hard time just to get back to the pre-pandemic space, back to the pre-pandemic level, right? So then what happened with us is really, really unusual, right? Our landlord decided to take a pivot of their own. Instead of continuing to develop the area as the retail spot it was going to be, they decided to sell a couple of parcels of land to some apartments. And those apartments, right after the pandemic, took an additional 2 years.
2 years. To build. Oh, so there's a promise of, hey, I'm gonna bring you more foot traffic, but it's not gonna happen right away. It may happen in 2 years. It may happen in 3 years. We don't know. Or four.
Because,
yeah.
Yeah, because just because your apartments start going up, they've got to get built, they've got to get permitted, they've got to get open. And then after they open, they've got to get full.
Right.
So you're talking another 2 to 4 years, and this is after the pandemic. So what James and I had to do is realize what our costs were. And it's like, you know what? We've got to get rid of all of our employees. Tough decision. Tough. So we had to get rid of employees. That was number one. Number two, because of the construction, we were literally on an island. Where we were located between basically 2 train tracks, but the entire area was carted off for big construction crews to come in and build 2 large apartments, about 360 units each.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Our parking lot, 50% of the parking was sold to accommodate the parking. And then after that, the remaining parking space became basically a laydown yard. So we were in a situation where we said, okay, we've got to cater. There's just no, there's
you
no,
can't.
I'm like retail is not happening here. It's impossible. Right. It's a practical impossibility. So we started catering heavily. We signed on with corporate catering concierge. Okay, so this is basically for lack of a better word, like a marketing group or firm.
Got it.
That has connections with all of the various offices in the greater Houston metropolitan area. Okay.
So note to self, corporate catering concierge.
Corporate catering concierge.
Got it.
Now, if you have similar things like that in, with our friends online, consider those types of concierge services. Also, you have Easy Cater. You have some of the things that are known more broadly, but I would suggest that you go with more of a regional type, just simply because they've got all of the connections. When it comes to catering, it's all about relationships.
Right.
It's all about relationships. Who do you know? How can they get you in the door? So when Julie Nelson, who is the owner of Corporate Catering, she had done some research on us. She walked through our doors and she said, hey, I like this place. I think we can do something with you. And so they were looking for people who had experience in barbecue, Southern style cuisine. So we made them a sample plate. She took it to her team. We were booking the next day. She said that has never happened, she said this is the first time this ever happened. But they loved it. They liked the food, and so they started booking us. There was not a job that we said no to.
No to. Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing. Note to self.
And that's just the 2 of you right now.
It was just the 2 of us right now.
Jesus.
And note to self, we were like, yes, yes. Can you do this? Yes, yes. So just a number of yeses come up. So, but what we started doing is we built our brand, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because it started out with maybe a law firm here to multiple law firms, from law firms to
Mm.
medical offices, from medical offices to um, manufacturing offices. So these
Wow.
sorts of things is how, and this built over the
Mhm.
next 4 years. Because remember, they're building apartments. We
Mhm.
have no
Mhm.
retail.
Mhm.
So we had to build. But what it taught James and I is that two people can be incredibly efficient.
Efficient. I was about to say that.
Efficient.
I was so about
So
to say that.
yeah, so we learned about inventory. We learned how important it was to plan.
Mm.
Pre-planning became everything. So from the time that we would get an order, then James and I would sit down and say, okay, let's see, what do we have in stock? What do we not have? And then we
Mm.
had to manage
Right.
how we actually made our purchases,
Right.
because it has a flow. You
Right.
have your purchase, you receive, then from receiving, now you're looking at your prep schedule,
Mhm.
okay, your prep, and then your actual cook schedule, and then you're looking at your delivery schedule.
Right.
So we went from getting maybe 1 to 2 jobs a week to like 6, 8 jobs. Sometimes we would have 3 or 4 jobs in a single day.
Oh
The
my goodness.
most the most jobs that James and I have done in a single
It's
day
a
is
day.
5 separate catering orders, where we fed before 12 noon over 200 people, different stops all over
About
the
the
city,
city.
and it was he and
Mm.
I.
Mm.
Just the amount of coordination, and we don't have time to
Yep.
argue, fuss, and fight.
Yep. Yep.
We
That's
don't have
another
time to.
thing too.
It's like we've got
Your
to get
marriage
on
is
and got
still
time.
intact.
So
Wow.
that's literally how that happened. And
Right.
so what we did as well is we maintained our relationships with the staff that we had worked with before. So if it was a space where I've got 2 jobs that have to be there at the same time,
Time. Mhm.
75 people at each job,
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, we got to bring in some staff.
Right.
We've got to bring somebody to help us during our prep time, during our cook time. And if we have to, contract out delivery services. So that's when you kind of feel like, okay, I'm growing. I'm
Mhm.
growing because I'm needing to bring people
People
in order
in.
to make
Fulfill.
this work.
Right.
Another thing to share, note to self, is your money.
Mhm.
How do we get paid? Okay, so some of these clients, like we've done work for Port Houston, we've done work for car companies who may be Advantage BMW, for example. Some
Right.
people may work on a net
Net.
30,
Mhm.
net 45 kind of
Mhm.
basis. So if you are managing your cash flow, especially as a caterer, if you don't get that money up front,
What do you do?
then what do you do? How do you source a job of 250 people, in 2 days,
Mm.
and
Mm.
done and delivered? So we reached out to our dear friends at Catamount Finance,
Okay.
or Catamount Funding. We know the owners is a family-owned business, Graham and Jeff Sell and Sharon and Karen. We know all of them
Shout
there.
out to them.
And shout out, big shout out, if you can find a finance company that will purchase your receivables. It's called factoring. If you are not familiar with factoring, that
I
is
like that.
something that every caterer needs to get familiar with. This is when you basically invoice a company,
Mhm.
and a third party company says, hey, I see your invoice and I see who you're invoicing to.
Too.
These are
Mhm.
some reputable people here,
Right.
but they're not going to pay you for another 30 days, and you need your money
Money
today.
now.
So,
Yesterday.
what they will do, what this finance company says, I'm going to purchase your receivable and give you 80% up front.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And when your vendor pays, they're going to pay us.
Us.
Okay. And when they pay you, then, or pay the finance company, then the finance company gives you the 20% minus the fee. That
Fee.
fee
Right.
could be 3 to 5%. But you are
Okay, that's not
certainly,
bad.
yeah, that's not bad. You are
That's not
certainly
bad.
happy to have it to
Up
keep
front.
that client.
Mm-hmm.
I never want to turn down a client because I don't have
The
upfront
money.
cash to
Mm-hmm.
pay for a job. So it's
Right.
very, very important to understand how to do that, how to work that. So this is the world of catering that we have been in and we lived
Right.
while this construction was going on. So there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears,
Of
crying,
course. Of course.
heartache, pain, trials, big victories, and also defeats. I mean,
Oh,
let's be
absolutely.
transparent.
Absolutely.
We've had jobs that just blew up, and we're like, how do we recover? But one of the things that we always say, and I tell Karina this all the time, is we just keep
Keep
showing
going.
up. Keep showing
Showing up.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't quit. You just keep showing up. And that's like 90% of the battle is just to keep showing up.
Right. So I heard a lot of great strategies in there. I just want to break them down and put
Sure.
them in a nutshell. So, one, you leveraged companies that already source other corporate clients, right? So you went
Right.
onto a platform and you signed up. You met the individuals. You had them taste your food.
Right.
Those that can advocate on your behalf. That's one.
Right.
The second one was really looking at you and your capacity. You pre-planned a lot of this. You also leveraged, and this is something that I think is very valuable, you leveraged a financial institution or a financial group to be able to float, that cash flow immediately, and not one strain yourself to for every penny. Is you used
Right.
other people's money to make money. That's
Right.
basically what you did. And I actually I had an aha moment. I was like, we need to have a class just for that. And how do you
I can tell
partner
you
with?
everything about factoring, and
Yeah. And
I'd love to bring Graham in, and Jeff in so that they can tell you about their company.
absolutely, that will
Um,
be for sure. We'll do a part two because
Definitely
um,
important, so
I
important.
do know that there are eligibility requirements, and you have to, submit certain information and documents, and making
Mhm.
sure that those that do want to go that route have the available documents to them. And if they don't, how do we prepare them for that? So that's gonna
Correct.
that's gonna be part two. Okay. So what other strategies have you implemented when you're really looking at these corporate clients? Because we did touch a little bit on the menu. How do you price it? How do
Oh
you design
yeah,
your menu? And then also, you've already started building those long-term relationships, but let's break down the first two, right? How do you price it? How do you
fantastic.
design your menu?
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Pricing. So remember, you're not alone, right?
Right.
You are one business in a sea of
Uh,
many.
yep.
So when I look at our pricing, I look at all of our competitors,
Got
other
it.
people who potentially could also be catering for these very companies. And I'm asking myself, okay, then, you can always raise your price.
Of course.
But if I start out real high, then I might not get that next sale.
Got it.
So I might undercut just a hair.
Mm,
It's not going to kill me. I'm looking at my cost to procure the food. I'm looking at the cost to bring that food up to a finished product. I'm
right.
looking at the costs associated with the facility, that's rent, your lease, your insurance, all of that. You're taking into account these things, but you kind of carry them in two separate buckets.
Hmm.
Your cost of goods is the first part. how do I attract that corporate client? Well,
Mm.
they have budgets. So if I get in the door
Mm-hmm.
and they like the food and it's a great price, then let's just keep feeding that relationship, keep giving them quality service, show up on time. Sometimes people have bad days. You got to learn how
Right.
to deal with that, how to navigate
Yep.
that. But show up with a good product, speed, accuracy, great service. So that's that piece. And so once you develop a relationship, now that price that was here,
Mm-hmm.
you can inch it up
Right.
little by little. People understand that in the
Right.
macro environment, if you know that prices are going up and they're going up all around you, then yes, you can
Right.
expect your prices to increase some.
Right.
Okay. But by this time, you've got the relationship.
Right.
You you've delivered time and again. So they'll be willing to stay with you and pay that higher price, and you have stood out against your competitors because your foot was in the door because they liked your price. They
Mm-hmm.
liked what you could give them compared to your competition.
Right.
So that's one piece of it. And that's what I mean by the cogs and making that sell.
Right.
Now, the second part of it is, how am I paying for my rent, my
Mm-hmm.
lease, my
Mm-hmm.
all of these other things, right? So, in that exercise, you're saying to yourself, how many sales do I need
I
to make
need. Mm-hmm.
in order to cover this section of cost? And if you are able to keep the hopper full, keep the catering coming in on those times, and I've looked back over the years when we've been able to meet our rent, meet all of our obligations, then that's because we were able to keep a consistent set
Right.
of catering jobs in that were priced right, that were serviced right. However, you do have times like what we're feeling right now,
Mm-hmm.
where you've seen machine learning, automation that has taken so many people basically out of work.
Mm-hmm.
So in the corporate space, what we are seeing is that we have jobs, but they're smaller. So
Mm.
instead of having a lot of large jobs, you have quite a few smaller ones.
Like 50, 25. Like,
50, 25. We were even given a benchmark where offices were wanting no more than like a $50 budget. It's
oh, per
crazy.
person?
No, $50 for the job.
Oh no.
So that
I was
gives
like,
you,
you have a pound
right?
right here. I'm
This
like, you have
gives
a
you,
pound right here for
yeah,
$29
right.
of brisket.
So that means that you're only feeding a
Two
very,
people?
very
Three
few
people?
people. So
Oh,
this is what you're kind of seeing in the
got it.
market when you see, more layoffs happen and all of that. Part of also being a corporate strategist when you're in a caterer is I
Mhm.
keep my head in the news. What is happening
Mm,
around me? If I'm seeing layoffs in oil and gas and those are
right,
my clients, then
right,
I can pretty much rest assured that, hey, this stream of income from my oil and gas partners it's going to go down. So
right,
if they were getting jobs 3 times a month and now it's one. So you have to be able to anticipate those sorts of changes.
hmm,
And it's part of the business cycle. You're going to be good, and then when it's down, how am I managing this piece?
right.
So in that space, you just continue to reach out and get more clients. So recently, we were blessed to do a job with a food fleet, which is more or less an aggregator that reaches out to many restaurants, and they do things like the Grammy parties and other
Mm,
things like that. And so we were able to do, one of their clients was Google. So
Okay.
we did that. Um, but
How
again,
big was that one?
oh, that one was 30. That was like their whole office. That was like 35 or so people,
Okay.
a little over $500 for that particular job.
Okay.
But it was a specific menu. It was a niche sort of menu offering,
Right.
entree and a side, packaged beautifully, allergen information on
Got
top and
it.
bottom. I mean, it's those sorts of things. Just tapping into a little bit. Another thing with catering is understanding your client.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you before you move on to there, because on your
Mhm.
what I did see on your menu
Mhm.
is you have the specialties, but you
Yes.
do barbecue. What
Yeah.
what made you um or yeah, what made you include some of these other items, right?
Yeah.
Um like like the pastas and the shepherd's pie and the pulled
Beautiful.
chicken and all these
Beautiful.
other ones. What made you add some of this stuff to your packages?
Because they are low margin, high volume foods.
Thank you for
Bottom
saying
line.
that. I was like,
Bottom line.
thank you for saying that.
Bottom line.
Yes,
But
yes.
when
And
I say when I say low margin, I don't mean low profit margin. I mean in terms of my cogs,
yes.
I can make any one of these dishes right here. I think you've got like our
This
sausage jambalaya is I think like 67. The smoked chicken alfredo is like 60 if I'm not
$60
mistaken.
a pan. Hmm.
Right, a pan. Okay, well, that one pan will feed 20 to 25 people.
Right,
So let's just do the math. If I've
right,
got 75 people in an office, I have fed them with 3 pans of that.
right, right,
And then they spend $180.
right,
I'm getting that job all day long.
right.
I mean, who who else
Yes,
are we going to? You
yes.
see?
And yes, absolutely. And my point is, yes, you might have a very specific menu, like a very hyper specific type of food that you make, but don't be afraid of capturing a little different what's it called, demographic of food, of
Right,
cuisine, because
right.
you're just losing out on money, right?
That's
If
right.
we are in the business of making money, right?
That's
Now,
right.
but of course, with the caveat of making sure that you can execute it properly, that the taste is there, that the quality is there.
That's
But
right.
you can do a lot of this in catering, which you have a lot more freedom with, right? And especially on Easy Cater and on those other ones too. Um, it doesn't have to be your regular restaurant menu. It could be something totally different that you can
Absolutely.
execute at a really high level and make the money. One of the things that I kind of preach a lot to is looking at breakfast. Breakfast is one of the areas, and I tell everyone this, breakfast is one of the areas that for corporate clients is one
Yeah.
of the most difficult to find. Why? Right? Why?
Mhm.
You fill that void. You start like making whether it's breakfast, breakfast brisket tacos, or if this is something that you can do, right?
And
And that
those
you
are
can
things
execute well.
you are absolutely right, Karina. Absolutely right, 100%. The breakfast taco, it doesn't show here because with our clients we had that's kind of like a separate conversation
Yeah.
that we have, and they're like, hey, can you do breakfast? And we've certainly done it before. So definitely to all of those points that you've mentioned, some client we've had clients that get us for breakfast and then turn around and say come back for
For
lunch.
lunch. Yeah.
So we pivot from the
feed us
breakfast menu
feed us
to
our whole
lunch.
conference, right? It's a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
It's a
And and
no-brainer.
and you can go on Amazon and get things like a craft coffee maker. I can't tell you how important just having a craft coffee maker is
Yeah.
because it's portable.
Yes.
You brew it right there. You can take it to the job site. Boom, you're done. And then they have 100 cup, 200 cup capacities.
Yep.
Get you a couple of those.
Yep.
Having good, just nice drink dispensers.
Yep.
Those are the sorts of things that kind of set you apart.
Part. Mhm.
If you're going to do catering, if you're going to do corporate catering, especially, and then, like you
Absolutely.
said, it just consider your menu as the opportunity for having multiple revenue streams. Look at
Absolutely.
each item as a revenue stream.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And find creative ways to if you're a Mediterranean restaurant, and I get it. Finding a way to make, something breakfasty like a parfait or like something that still is in your brand and in your cuisine type, but again, looking at ways that you can maximize and cross using things too. I mean, I did see that you do cross use a lot of your inventory items, but when you're looking at catering, that is huge too because you're buying in bulk, and how do you maximize when you buy in bulk is to obviously use it in different ways. um
Right.
so another thing too, when we are thinking about high volume planning, right? What is the largest catering that you've done? How did you plan for that, and how did you plan for the menu for that as well?
Okay, then. So the largest catering that we've done was when we subcontracted with Party Planners West to do the NFL Commissioners party when during the Super.
Oh.
So we had to prepare, what was it, like 3,000 servings of corn salad
Ooh.
and 5,000 servings of coleslaw
In the little cups?
in little cups.
Mm.
That is
I could see someone chopping up
that's a lot.
the
I mean,
cabbage like
you need your food processors, you need your
Yeah.
coffee, you need everything. So again, how and that was 13,000. That was 13,000 people that were at that. We had a team of like 12, 12
Mhm.
people,
To do prep?
but we were alongside other teams that were
Mm,
subbed under Party Planners West.
got it.
Okay. So our team of 12, their team of 12, their team, you see what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's how they built the entire event.
Wow.
Um, yes, so the pre planning for that, again, so you start at date of go live, and then you work each activity set backwards.
Mhm.
So from go live, what do I have to do to get to go live? Well, I've got to get to the facility.
Mhm.
I've got to get my team mobilized, and
Mhm.
we've got to get set up.
Right.
Okay, that's good. So now go back from getting to the facility to where did I travel from? So it's each incremental piece all the way up. You build that plan.
Got
So
it.
when I'm there, you know, my cook schedule, my prep schedule, all of those things you have to look at. And so what you find yourself doing is from go live, then you build on each activity set all the way to when I had to receive it. And you see the length of time that will
That
take.
takes. Mhm.
So that's your start. And then you look at where you are. Am I 1 week out from where I needed to start? Am I
Right.
2 weeks out from where I need to start in this plan? You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So it takes that type of coordination. And you're not alone. You have to
Mhm.
bounce these off of other people.
Right.
James,
And
my husband, my partner, so we bounce
and
all of
and at the time you had your restaurant open
Yes.
okay. So now that it's a little different, right? Now
Right.
that you don't have to, because a lot of times, yes, you're a restaurant owner and you're trying to do both things at once, right?
Mm.
But if you're a full caterer, right? You have your commercial kitchen, and you're starting to plan for something like this, right? What strategies in terms of your team, in terms of how you think about your inventory, what are some of those strategies that you would recommend a private caterer or even just a restaurant owner that just wants to do high volume catering, like how do you plan, or when do you what's the first thing that you start thinking about when you're trying to do and execute something like this?
Okay, so the first thing that I started thinking about is the quantity size. Everything's
Mhm.
gonna basically build itself around that.
Got it.
So if I decide that, okay, this cup of corn salad is 3 ounces, and I got to have 3,000 of these.
Hmm.
Okay, then that sets how much volume I need to purchase in order to make 3,000 of
Of
these.
those. Hmm.
So then now I look at this volume that I've had to purchase, right? So where am I going to put it? Do I have the capacity
Hmm.
to hold all of this?
Right. The
See
the
what I'm saying?
refrigerator space,
Do I
the
have the refrigerator space? And if I don't have the refrigerator space,
you have to
can
bring
I
something in.
contract out
Mhm,
companies
mhm,
that provide trailers that have cooling? I
mhm.
just did a quote for a very, very large job. Don't know if we'll get it or not, but it's one
You
of those.
will, you will.
But it's one of those things that you have to work through. Like I said, you work backwards.
Mhm.
So you have to be honest with yourself. Do I have refrigeration? Can I get refrigeration? If you can get the refrigeration, that's great. But then
Where are you gonna put it?
now you say, where am I going to put it? And
Mhm,
do I have the facility capability to keep
mhm.
that generator on?
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
So
now
I
have to start thinking about your physical space.
space.
And if you have, limitations, sometimes you might not be able to do that job.
Right.
But if you can work through every piece and find a way,
Mm,
then go for it. But that's some of the strategies that we think about. It starts with the serving size. How many of those do you need in order to do the job successfully? And then you look at, okay, what kind of inventory do I need to receive?
mhm.
And if I receive it, where is it going to
To
go?
go. Yeah.
You see? And then once you've received it, now I've got to prep.
Mhm,
So once I've prepped it, where is it going to
mhm,
go?
mhm,
Okay. And then if you can answer these questions, right? The who's going to help you prep, how much time is it going to be, how much
mhm.
money am I going to have to spend for that labor
Right, right.
at every point. Then you got to talk about loading because
Mhm,
you got to get it to the
mhm,
facility, right? So you can't just stack
mhm.
hundreds of trays on top of each other.
Right.
Now you need shelving
Yep.
and you need a loading plan.
Yeah.
So it's
And an offloading plan
and an
and
offloading
and a setup plan.
and a setup plan.
And, is
So
it full service plan?
right.
Who's gonna be stand yes, so I love what you said. You actually so a lot of times, some people work their way from, "What am I gonna serve? How much do I have to serve?" And then they work themselves up to event day, right? You're saying you do it the total opposite. You
Hold
start with
on.
event day, where it is, what I'm gonna
Work
do,
backwards.
and then you work yourself backwards. Yeah.
Yes.
That that's a
Yes.
great strategy, actually. That's a
Because that way you've covered all your bases because you
right.
start at what needs to happen to be
Happen.
successful.
Yep. Yep.
And that way you work all the way back, and then from there everything pops up that you're going to know that you're going to need to do.
Right. Right.
So that's the piece of it. And it also helps to working backward also tells you how many people you're going to need at each stage, right?
Right. Right. So I
Yeah.
wanted to bring this video up because this is something that I believe you guys just did as well. And this was an open house,
Hmm.
right, for the Houston Botanical. And obviously this is live, right? This is
Right,
at the event, and
right.
you have staff literally cutting up the was that the brisket?
Yes, that so James was that's another vendor there. I think that's City West. And
Okay.
that's another these are other vendors there, but at the first of the video, that's all us. Yes, and we did have staff there to serve, to cut, to place. You saw the tiered yeah, those
This
tiers
one?
right there. So again, that's just kind of a creative way that we wanted to show our heavy hors d'oeuvres.
Got
But
it.
yes, we had staff to do that, and then keeping the client in mind. Like I said, when you start at event day and plan backwards, then that's how you end up saying, okay, we're going to need the forks.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to need
The
the
wooden
little
pieces.
table tents.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, this is how we want it tiered
Right.
so that it looks very appealing.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Right. So it's funny because in events I do this, but kind of when I'm developing the menu, right? But I love how you're saying do it at the beginning so you know and you can plan towards the end.
Right.
Um, but yeah, no, this is great. So talking about your menu, right? When you're
Mhm.
doing big caterings like this, do you limit your menu or do you just give them free reign to choose whatever they want? Or how do you really kind
Yeah,
of curate a menu for something like this?
I want to push everybody to the website because the website is where we live, we breathe, and we make our money. So the menu,
Hmm.
what we offer is offered based on how we can make money on each and every item.
Got
Okay,
it.
how we can use each and every item. So every product that you see there
Uh-huh.
is takes what we already have as our
Mhm.
base, right? So the
Got it.
chicken, wherever you see chicken again, notice no, that's our pulled chicken. That's going to
Okay.
be our smoked chicken. Everywhere you see chicken, it's our smoked chicken. Everywhere you see the sides or the brisket or like there the shepherd's pie,
Right.
well, we have a vegetarian version, we have a vegan version, right?
Got it.
So we use the same core ingredients. You have a staple offering that you know you're going to have prepared
Hmm.
all the time. And then you just build your menu around those things. The
Got
mac
it.
and cheese balls, for example. Well, we make a lot of mac and cheese.
So that's what
So
I was gonna say. What
mac and
was
cheese
this?
ball is an appetizer.
And what
So
was
there
this?
we've got spinach poppers. That's from our cream spinach. You've also
Oh.
got the barbecue cauliflower there. You have pulled pork empanadas. So see, all of these
Um,
things, like barbecue cauliflower, I take
Yum. I
one
was like,
head of
"Yum."
cauliflower
Yeah.
and I split that thing up 40 different ways, right?
Mhm.
So I batter it, and we've even looked at modifying the battering to make a slurry instead of do it with eggs,
Ah.
because eggs adds an incremental cost, but
Mhm.
I can make a
Right
slurry.
now, especially now. Yeah.
Right, I make a slurry out of my
Oh,
season like a gravy, and I use that as my
as a
coating,
binder.
as the
Mm,
binder, and then I dredge it again, and it's perfect. It
mm,
works. And I didn't have, and look, it's vegetarian and vegan. So
mm.
I don't have to change anything.
Anything.
I just used, you just think about how can I take every item and make the maximum money for it. You
Mhm.
pay, what, $2.96 for a head of cauliflower.
Right.
But one floret of ours is like $1.35.
Mm.
And I got 40 of those.
Right.
So you
Right.
do the math.
Right. Yep.
So,
It's a no-brainer.
so, so when it comes to offering hors d'oeuvres,
Right.
hey, look at our barbecue cauliflower. It's one of our highest
Guys,
margin
of
items.
course.
You
And
see what
and
I'm
it's
saying?
yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of, when you are looking at, launching a corporate catering program, there's a couple of elements that your website, and we ran over this with Chef D. There are many aspects. Actually, your website is your company's pretty much resume, right? And so making
Right.
sure that you have the proper what's it called? The proper images, the
Hmm.
proper, headers of, hey, here are my packages, hey, here's my catering.
Hmm.
What other things have you included on your website in terms of whether it's an element or a design
Sure.
to, kind of um what's it called, lure or secure those corporate, corporate clients? Is there
Well,
anything that you've done specifically because of that?
absolutely. So when you go to our packages,
Uh-huh.
right there, that packages menu. So right there, many corporate clients, we develop a package because they work on dollar per head.
Right.
So what we've done is said, okay, then kind of customizing it to where we're from, like Deals Gap, Smoky Mountain, this sort of catchy names that's part of our branding. But
Mhm.
the main thing there is the price. We want people to feel like they're getting a great deal
Deal.
for the
Mhm.
price, and it's really, we make it easy. So if I have a corporate client and they know that their budget is $15 a head,
Mhm.
boom, they can go to the Deals Gap package and
And
look at
get
all of this you can
yep,
get for 14.
right.
And so descriptors are very important because then it tells you what you're getting.
Mhm.
And then if you have clients that want to level up, then we've got it in tiers. So Ruby Falls, this is what you're going to get at $18. You keep on down, you're going to get something at like $22. Then you
$2.
keep on down, you get something at $25. But notice at each stage, it's all the same food, packaged a different
Different
way,
ways. Mhm.
or we've got more quantities. But it's the same
Got it.
stuff, basically.
Got it.
So that's the sort of thing that's attractive to corporate clients. The ease in which you can navigate, the
Make it
headers,
simple. Make it simple.
keep it simple. You know what people are looking for.
Right.
Um, on the back end of it, I had the opportunity to speak for Pop Menu
Right.
at a recent thing that they did, and they highlighted our menu there. So when you are uploading, and this is for anyone who has a website,
Mhm.
I cannot stress the importance enough. I can't stress it enough on how Google integrates and finds you.
You. Mhm.
How machine learning and AI actually get into the background. I call them their crawlers, but get in and actually find you.
Right.
So part of this is when you upload pictures, don't just let it be a bunch of squirrely numbers .jpeg.
Yes. So
Describe what that picture is.
is.
Because the way Pop Menu works, and I don't know who has different websites, but if they have a machine learning or an AI component, that's how that background works. It looks at your physical
Pick.
photo
Mhm.
and the title of that photo in order to develop content for you. So
Got
you
it.
have to name the content. Like that would be a 3 meat dinner plate with ribs, brisket, and pulled pork.
So that's what you would name your photo.
That's what you would name the photo, 3 meat dinner plate.
Got
So
it.
then now the machine, when it's looking, it will see 3 meat dinner plate and will attach that photo. And now it's now creating that content for you.
for you.
That's how it
Mm,
works. That's how it works. And
that makes
so
sense.
in this
Yeah.
age, you've got to have all of your content labeled. Don't just throw up a picture. You know, your descriptions are also important.
Yep.
Your keywords in your descriptions: beef, brisket, chicken, smoked, mac and cheese,
Right.
cheddar. All
Right.
of these are ways that people will find you.
Right.
And if your website and you're not integrated somehow within Google, then when people drive by or they're searching, they won't
Mm-hmm.
see you.
They won't see you.
And it's
Yeah.
almost like it's not an intentional shadow banning, but you are effectively shadow banned if
You're
no one is seeing
seeing
you.
you. Mm-hmm.
And
So
that's so important.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And you and I have had these conversations of the impact of what is coming next and how to prepare, especially in this era of AI, and
Absolutely.
how everything should be clear and clearly labeled, hyperly specific, every picture, every description. So speaking of getting eyes on your product and getting more national exposure, I'm going to pivot over to something that you did and that you all have had some success. I would say
Mhm.
it is success on shipping your products to
Right.
people across the nation. Sorry, there's these. Now we got Rakuten. Just kidding. Let's get Rakuten as a sponsor of the Culinary Business Network. But anyways, Goldbelly, talk to
Yeah.
us about how, and we have a couple minutes left,
Okay.
but
Sure.
walk us through Goldbelly. How
Sure.
did you find out about them? How has it been for you all?
Mhm.
And what products did you intentionally put on here, right? Because you're
Okay.
thinking about shipping, you're thinking about freezing, packaging, you're thinking about the end user because you think backwards, right? So walk
Right. Yes.
walk us through that.
Okay. So, a dear girlfriend of mine actually shared with me about the possibility of going on Goldbelly. She said, "Have you considered Goldbelly?" And I'm like, you know what? I haven't, but I reached out um, to Goldbelly, and they have, a lot of these websites. They'll say, "Hey, if you're interested, sign up."
Right.
So we signed up, and
And you
then
have to fill out an application, and
I had to,
some people do get denied. I'm not saying
yeah.
everybody that applies will get it, but if you do get it, and still apply, but still, just
Well,
know that not everyone will.
not everyone will, but one of the things that attracted the people at Goldbelly to us is I said, well, hey, look, we're already shipping and we're building. I mean, we literally have a shipping container that we developed.
Oh,
James and I did to make everything work. And so when I, mentioned to the buyers at Goldbelly, I said, well, we're already doing shipping and we've got our own container. He was like, wow, okay. He said, well, send me this, this, and this. So we sent it. They loved it. They like, we got to have you on the platform. So then you really have to now get really smart about what you're doing
how?
because
Mhm.
Goldbelly sells their food for what I would consider astronomical
Economical.
prices, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But you're selling to them wholesale.
Sale. Mhm.
So you have to think about how am I still making money covering my costs at a wholesale price.
Right.
Okay. And so even with Goldbelly, we have to really look at our packaging cost,
Mhm.
what it does, to keep things cool
Right.
and cold, because when it gets to the client, it needs to be frozen.
Right.
um, we had to look at our I said packaging costs, but also just looking at what our raw goods cost, keeping up with that, because I tell you, we've had to even raise our wholesale prices with Goldbelly, and that's not
Oh,
easy to do
yeah.
because
Yeah.
you fill out
But you have to.
you fill out an application with them and you tell them that this is what it is. They're not interested really to hear you say, well, hey, look, I got to
Mm.
go up another 30%. What? And so then we had to make the business case and it's a spreadsheet. We make the business case for why our costs had necessarily moved up.
Moved
And
up.
then they accepted it and, we went on. But be very, I will say, be careful.
Hmm.
These platforms are great. They're good to get you exposure,
Right.
okay? They get you exposure nationally. But you also have to always think about, am I really making money
Making money.
here?
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. Excuse me.
Bless you.
We've done our biggest job on Gold Belly. One job was about $3,000.
Okay.
hmm We had to do it was kind of like a high end client in DC, you know, 75,
People. Oh,
75 sandwich kits,
okay.
you know,
Wow.
yeah. So we've done that. No, it was 75 oinkers. That's what it was. 75 oinkers. So when you work with Goldbelly, they have a whole marketing team
Yeah.
dedicated
Of course.
to
Of
the
course.
packaging of everything,
Yep.
how it looks, the look and feel, the
Yep.
story. I mean, it's a
Yep.
big deal.
And
It's
they
a
they
big
have like a little um flyer, right, about your
right.
story, and then they have certain package, like foamy package that they
Yeah,
send
like
it
they
to you.
use cold. Yeah, they use cold keepers. But
Cold keepers,
see,
yeah.
during the time that we were really doing Gold Belly, cold keepers, the price was so high,
Mm.
and then they ran into some supply issues.
Oh.
So now you're waiting on your packaging. So James and
Oh,
I actually developed our own packaging
yeah.
that we use,
Right.
and it's worked well.
Okay.
We've had to test it. We take two number sevens, shove them in. We've got a whole. I mean,
You got it down. You got it
we've
down to
got it
a
down.
science.
We've got it down to
So
a science.
so
So
let me tell you, so but let me ask you, because we're about to wrap up, but how do
sure.
you balance that local customer base in Houston and your national exposure, and those demands with Goldbelly? And has Goldbelly been a profitable revenue stream for you? Now I know, I mean, I don't know how often you get orders, but overall, how do you meet those two demands?
Okay, then. So I would say, since Gold Belly is kind of a plug and play sort of thing, you can push and get more exposure on Gold Bellies depending on how you market it as well,
Got
right?
it. Okay.
So with us, we have focused more on our local immediate market,
Okay.
just simply because the margins on our profit
Yeah.
margins on our local immediate market are better
Right.
than what we would see in the Gold Belly space. We still make money on Gold Belly,
Right.
but as compared to what we do locally, regionally, it's not the same. Now we
Right.
get most of Gold Belly's products that we feel are our desserts, and
Okay.
yeah, there are desserts and our
They're kind
oysters.
of, yeah, they're kind
People
of known
love
for
those
that, right?
oysters. Yeah,
Oinkers. Wait,
they
let
are
me see
so.
which one's the oinker. Let's look it up. Let's look at it.
So the oinker is a pound of pulled pork, a pound of ribs, a pint of baked beans, a pint of coleslaw. And if
Where?
somebody wants sauce, we add the sauce to it. I know that by heart because that's what we get a lot of requests for. We also
Okay.
get
Where is
the
it? I don't see it.
let's see, go down. I think it's the second one. Okay, that top row,
Uh-huh.
that right next to it. Not that one. Come back to your left.
Uh-huh.
I
So,
think that's it.
oh yes,
Oinker.
this is it. The oinker. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the oinker. And so that's
Is it because they get a little bit of everything, maybe?
what in terms of the price. No, I mean the oinker is that they do get a package deal. They get two
Oh, I
sides
see. Got it. The
and
2
a,
sides,
right.
the barbecue sauce and the ribs. Got it.
And those
Okay.
are the adders. Those are like add-ons. So
Oh, I see.
you see what I'm saying?
So
Yeah.
this package serves 4. It includes 1 pound of ribs, 1 pound of pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw.
Yep.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's what I'm saying. You get ribs and pulled pork?
Get a pound each. And that's
Yeah,
vacuum sealed, frozen. But look at that price that they charge for.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
almost $80.
yeah.
So in an economy
But
where people, you see,
yeah, but again, this is a different demographic of people.
correct,
The people that are getting
correct.
this are not down here. They're pretty much up
That's
here, right? And
exactly right. And
they have that disposable income that they're able to use.
absolutely.
So,
And our sweet potato pies have been the big sellers are the oinker, the sweet potato pies, and
here's the sweet
the
potato pie.
cheesecakes. People love those sweet potato pies, the two
Yeah.
packs. So
Oh, this is 2 for 6. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, again, this is meant to show that there are so many different possibilities of ways that you can leverage your kitchen, your team, your products in different ways that you can start bringing in different sources of revenue because
right,
there's so many different ways to make money,
yeah,
and it's just making sure that you know that these exist, right? And that's
right,
why we're having these conversations.
absolutely.
And so just to wrap up, a couple of questions. What has been the biggest challenge in shifting from restaurant to catering? And how did you overcome that?
Ooh, okay, so the biggest challenge in shifting from restaurant to catering, I would say, had to do around the employees. You know, because what you find is when you let your employees go, for whatever reason that you need to make that change, basically what you're committing to is saying, okay, now not only do I have to, look at running this business, I've got to
Mhm.
look at working in this business
Business.
as
Yeah.
well. And so the way we overcame that is through a lot of prayer. I ain't gonna lie.
Mm, mm,
we,
mm.
we we are believers. I'm gonna tell you that. And we did a lot of prayer. Um, and then to just very, very strategic planning. I can't stress enough that when you are down to what I call a skeleton crew,
Yeah.
your planning takes center
Stage.
stage. It it just has to,
Mhm.
because you don't have the labor or the time
Right.
if you still want to have a life.
Right.
Remember, you still got to live.
You're still a human. You're
You're
still
still
human.
human,
You still have to
right?
sleep. You still have to pay your own
You
mortgage and your
you
own
still
bills.
got to do all
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
And you still, if you got kids, you still got to manage them and be with them and parent them. So time is very important. Time management is important. So that's one of the things that James and I really, really got good at.
Mm,
We know we don't want to be here overnight. So if we can help it, as long as we can help it,
right.
then if I know I've got a job coming a week from now,
Right.
then I'm prepping now.
Right.
I'm making sure that I've got all of my materials, everything in place so that by the time we go live, this is done.
Right.
It's done. Not on the way, no, finished.
Right.
So that
So
when, yeah.
so as we wrap up because we have a couple minutes left, what
Sure.
advice you told us about making sure you have that time management and understanding that, hey, without staff, like it's just you, right?
Hmm.
If you are in this scenario, right? But
Hmm.
what advice would you give other culinary business owners who are considering pivoting away from their restaurant and
Hmm.
just strictly corporate catering? And even maybe exploring, shipping with Goldbelly. What advice would you give those individuals? Because these are choices that some individuals are having to make,
Yeah.
especially right now that they're like, do I keep my doors open or not? I'm not seeing the foot traffic. What do I do? You
Yeah.
know? So, what advice would you give those culinary business owners that are in that spot right now?
The biggest advice I would give them is for them to be absolutely honest with the
Mm,
numbers that they're seeing and honest with themselves.
mm,
When you have to make a decision to pivot, you have to do it quickly.
mhm.
You don't have time. A lot of things that drive the question to pivot is financial.
Yeah.
It's financial. If I'm talking about having to pivot, is because I'm at the end of my money, or my money is very tight. I'm not bringing in the revenues that I need. So then pivot. It's not that you failed. It's not
Right.
that it's the end of the world. It wasn't quite what you dreamed. You have to recognize and be honest with yourself. This is where we are.
Mhm.
This is where we are. So when you pivot, being brutally honest with yourself, and then, face the very real possibility that it may be just you and one other that's
Right. At
got
the
to
beginning. Yep.
shoulder this for a minute.
Right.
If you're looking at continuing to do retail, then what
Mhm.
I would consider is strip that menu down
Yep.
as basic as
Much as
possible.
possible. Mhm.
Find that one or two item that you can give somebody a fantastic deal on, and just work that. What you'll find is that the prep and the time to
Mhm.
put that one or two star item together, people will come.
Mhm.
People will come for that one thing.
Mhm.
Look at Crystal. Look at Hamburg. Look at Burger King. Like, people come for burgers. Just a burger.
And that's just a burger. And funny you say that because that's exactly what you just did.
Yes.
You went from restaurant, corporate catering, and now you're coming back and saying, I'm just going to do sandwiches. I'm going
That's
to open
it.
up my doors and I'm just going to do sandwiches.
That's
That's
it.
it.
That's it.
Simple. Boom. Done.
That's it. Boom.
That's more revenue.
That's right. And
That
and
is,
it allows us to still be open for retail, to
yes.
fill the gaps that catering can't close, especially in this current
Yep.
environment and climate. But it's so much easier.
Yep.
So much easier than
Yep.
carrying. You saw that spread at the beginning.
Yep. Yep.
Remember we said we were going to
Yep.
get back to this conversation?
Yep. This one right.
Yeah.
Oh, hold
That
on.
huge spread in the beginning. It
Yep.
feels a
This one.
lot different coming in every day
Mhm.
to fix sandwich, fries, and a drink versus coming in every
Every
day
day and
to
doing
fix
all
all
of
of
this.
that.
Yep. Yep. And see,
That's
this is
different.
why I wanted to have this conversation because y'all, it is okay. It is okay to go from this to pivoting into something else, then
Yeah,
realizing, hey, I need to fill the back gap somewhere else, and bringing back your walk-ins and your retail and simplifying it with one or two items. It is okay,
it's
and
okay.
Karen is a testament to that. So I love everything that we've talked about because there's so much
Yes.
in there that many can really grab onto and learn from. So I have one last question for
Sure.
you, and I ask
Sure.
this of all of my guests because it's so much fun. So right now, what is your favorite food, spice, drink, whatever herb that you are obsessed with right now?
Okay. Well, my favorite drink that I'm always eternally obsessed with is our pineapple tea.
I knew you were
That
gonna say that.
that thing. That pineapple tea, I'm telling you, it will make a bad day happy. It
That's
is
it. I'm
just
getting in my car right now. I'm gonna go get me a pineapple tea from
you
you.
got. I mean, it is so good. I love that. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
obsessed with our pineapple tea. I love that.
Oh, that's
And another one is Jamie's banana pudding. It
ooh,
is phenomenal. And it's one of the items that we actually use with our package because we can upsell on it.
of
You know.
course, of course.
And so, but that banana pudding is something special. So those are the two things that are my favorite at the moment.
At the moment, and it
At
doesn't
the
have to be your food, by the way. It could be anything.
Well, that's certainly that's certainly it because
That's awesome. Well, Karen, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. We've learned so much from your story and how
thank
staying
you.
true. You've really stayed true to your roots, and you've been flexible enough to pivot in ways that others might have never thought about, and seeing those new opportunities as growth. And so, from East Tennessee flavors to Houston, and to boardrooms to homes across the country. Famous Barbecue has been paving the way for others that might want to do something similar. So, to everyone, remember, if you want to connect with Karen, we put her Instagram down below. But also, for those of you that have not joined our Culinary Business Network, note that for less than $1 a day, you get to connect with beautiful people like Karen and many others across the nation, and where you can get everything at your fingertips, from business training to consulting with industry experts. And we couldn't do this, of course, without our support from Grubhub Community Fund, who have really championed our cause, of course. And again, to join the network, you can see the links below. And so, Karen, any final thoughts, anything you want to say before we head off onto keep going?
Yes, I'm gonna always tell everybody pray hard and keep showing up.
Keep showing up. That's what it was. Not
Keep
keep
showing
going.
up.
Keep showing up. Keep
Keep
showing up.
showing up.
Yes. And also, to you all, remember, you are not alone in this journey. And when you thrive, we all thrive. So keep showing up with purpose, passion, and people first. So we will
Amen.
see you all soon. Again, Karen, thank you so much. You
Thank
have been
you.
such a doll, and I love talking to you as
Love
always.
talking to you too. It's awesome.
I will
Thank you.
see you all soon. And if you're in Houston, or if you want to come to Houston, check out Famous Barbecue when you get here. Thank you.
Bye bye.